All right. Nothing like technical difficulties to get our starting day off on the wrong foot, but you know what? It doesn't matter because what do? We take one step in spite of it, and all we can do is keep moving forward. So welcome, everyone. This is going to
Indeed,
end
we
up
do.
being a recording one, but it's okay. And we will get out to Facebook Live as soon as the internet decides to cooperate with me. But I am so honored to have Liz Bull joining me today for It's Time to Excel, where we ignite and inspire the possibilities that are there for you. And we just want to encourage you and help you to move and take the next step forward, because ultimately we want you to excel as well. So welcome, Liz. You are just a wealth of knowledge, and I'm so blessed to have you as a friend and have gotten to know you, and great guidance along the way. So I'm looking forward to you sharing with my audience to kind of give them a little bit of guidance along the way. And I'm just going to let you kind of tell, because your background, I could go on for the next 20 minutes with the wealth that you bring to us. But go ahead and share a little bit with them so they can get to know you a little bit.
So I got to tell you, Janice, it's my absolute pleasure to be with you. And, yeah, the techie issues I find myself thinking about, I can't remember what admiral it was, but there was somebody, I don't think he's on it because he was in the Navy, but it was something like the torpedoes full speed ahead. So
yep.
that is
all
what
we can do.
That is what we are doing today. We've got internet torpedoes coming at us right, left, and center.
Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah. So what do I do? Well, I do a lot of things, but as you know, or maybe you don't know, a lot of people who work with me refer to me as their secret weapon. And I'll tell you why. I help people, crush their sales and lose weight without ever having to diet again. And here's why. Everything that ever happened to you shows up in your energy. Everything. Because even though you might not remember, your cells do. And as a medical intuitive, that's what I work with. I work with cellular energy and cellular memory and clearing it out. Because here's the thing, a lot of people who are in business think that people are paying attention or listening to their words. Well, they're not. People don't listen to your words. What they do is they feel your energy, and that includes you. That includes you. You're not listening. It's like, when something is a little wonky and a little off, and, you're going, if you had, you're kind of like, your higher, your better version of you kind of sitting on your shoulder, that little person would be going, liar, liar, you don't really believe that.
Yeah.
As you're going, I've got this, liar, liar, like that, right? So
yeah, if we're honest, we have to admit it. They're sitting there.
They're there, and you go, oh no, I got this, and liar, because of something that happened to you in the past, something that you attempted to do, and you were all full of yourself, and I've got this, and you fell flat on your face. Well, and I said, well, I'm beyond that. I'm done with that. But your cells aren't. Your cells may not be, because they're referencing all the stuff that happened before that, where you fell flat on your face and you said, okay, you're a failure. You're a loser. You can't do this.
We're human.
Who do you think you are? We're human, right? Or, what I call, I do a lot of work with epigenetics, which means family patterning, historical patterning. Yeah. And there is, well, I call them fine family traditions with my clients.
Okay, fair enough.
That's what I call them. Is, we have no idea why we do this, but in our family, we do it this way, And in our family, we work hard, and if you don't work hard, well, you're cheating, that's that sort of stuff, which will get you in this cycle of working crazy hours, and you feel like virtuous because you're being loyal to that fine family tradition of hard working people, and you're getting nowhere. You're exhausted and you're getting nowhere. Yeah.
Sure.
So it's things like that. a gajillion thoughts a day, and most of them are not conscious thoughts. 90% of them are subconscious thoughts. We don't even know we're thinking them. We don't even know. And that's what I work with, because I'm highly skilled because of a lot of training and just intuitive ability, natural ability. I mean, it's kind of scary sometimes, the stuff I know. It's like, how did you know that? Well, I just know, things like that. And, when we presence it and then we test it, because I have an engineering background, and so I use an empirical method. We test before, we do some work, and then we test again and see what's changed.
Sure. Makes sense.
Right? It's a very methodical thing. And so when we test it, and people will say, oh, I'm not thinking that, but your body is. Your subconscious is thinking that. Your subconscious,
if we listen.
Absolutely. Yep. Believes it to the bone that is the, truth. I hate using this quotation marks and air quotation marks, but, truth with a capital T.
Absolutely.
But yeah. But the thing is that it doesn't have to stay your truth. And in point of fact, it's just something that you took on. It was, what somebody told you, you were brainwashed. You were brainwashed by good old mom and dad, who were probably a little more than a little ham-handed in the way they, raised you up. And that fine family tradition, which is literally in your genes. This is genetic memory that we're dealing with. And that can be changed. People say, oh, you can't change genes. Well, absolutely you can. You absolutely can. Because we are living, breathing, ever-changing, bunches of cells. That's what we are. We're bunches of cells. And you can change. We're not even the same cells 30 seconds from now as we are this minute. We're not.
So we're ever-changing.
It's all, we're ever-changing. And thought, this is the wonderful work of Bruce Lipton, is, he has this wonderful book called The Biology of Belief. And literally your belief changes your biology.
Okay.
So the minute you change your belief, you change your biology.
Your biology is changing too. Okay.
And you can change. Yeah, exactly. And it's kind of like a system that influences and informs each part of it. The biology is informing the belief, and the belief's informing the biology, and back and forth it goes, back and forth it goes. You change one, you change the other. Bada bing, bada boom.
So they're working together to improve.
They're working together, or in some cases, they're working against each other, which is why, there's so many. I mean, I'm a medical intuitive, as well as being an energy healer, I'm a medical intuitive. And so, every organ in our body tends to accumulate discomfort around certain emotions. Okay. So, all right. And the body tends to be very literal. That's the other thing. So, for example, you're gonna love this one. It's like grief. So grief, for example, is held in the lungs. So people who have, asthma, problems with lungs, problems breathing, et cetera, usually there is grief that they got from somewhere. Could be mom and dad, could be they're carrying it for grandma, because that kids will do that to help out a family. I'll take their emotional crap on. I'll take it into my body. That will help them out, and that will justify my being here, and they won't kick me to the curb or boot me out, right? They'll do that. So there's stuff like that, or brokenheartedness. Brokenheartedness is very literal. It's very, very literal. You can absolutely die from a broken heart. No question about it. Wow. Heart attacks, all that stuff, it's from unresolved brokenheartedness. My personal favorite is UTIs, urinary tract infections, and bladder problems, because it's literally from being pissed off about something with no place to put it, no place to express it.
So it expresses in one way or another.
Into your body, one way or another. There it is, Or you think about, things like anger, or teenagers with acne. That's my favorite. Everybody thinks, oh, it's just normal. Well, it's normal in the sense that, the liver and the skin are closely connected. Both of them are processing stuff. And your skin is the largest organ in the body. People forget that. They think it's just, some kind of enclosure or something for the rest of
which it kind of is, but still, it's a lot more than that.
stuff. It's not. It's actually a living, breathing. It is. It is. And when you think about what teenage years are like, what are teenagers mostly? What are they mostly?
Hormones.
They're like little
frustration and chaos and bouncing off
and anger and rage, and they don't know what to do with it. And all of that stuff, right? And so acne is like literally eruptions because they got no place to put it.
And that makes sense. It's got to go
comes
somewhere.
Out in the skin. There it is. Boom. It's got to go somewhere, and that's where it goes. Typically, that is exactly where it goes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is why probably some adults experience it too later on, and all of a sudden, wait, I never had this in the teenage years, but I have it now. Well, there we go. Stress has reared its lovely head again.
Literally,
and that
comes
makes
out
sense.
as a white head, a black head, yeah, just think of them as
and
little
the list goes on and on.
All
over.
And on. Absolutely, that's what happens. That's absolutely what happens. Yeah. So anyway, so that's how I help people with things like that. So stuff like, chronic migraines, that again is usually repressed anger of some sort, where you just haven't been able to stay to enrage the anger and the resentment. So you go,
and then you're and then the stress builds those headaches.
Myself with it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I have a number of clients who've gone through that, and the minute they're able to, well, number one is there's usually a backlog of frustration and anger that's in their system. So the first place we go is, all right, let's go back to those and let's clear the energy from those. And bit by, like layer after layer after layer, and then press.
You got to get down to the bottom of it and fix the foundation before you can build anything.
Exactly right. Yeah. It goes right down to the foundation. And then, the migraines become a thing of the past. I have a client in New York, and I work by phone, by the way. I work remotely. So I have clients all over the world, but one particular client in New York had suffered from debilitating migraines. We're talking everyday occurrence.
My.
Yeah. And, unfortunately, she came from the family from hell. Unfortunately, so there you were. There it was. But, since she's been working with me, she never gets them anymore. Because now there's a safe, now she can get in touch with the feeling. It's like, oh, it's anger, and here's the why. And, there's something we can do about it in the moment so that it doesn't have to get stuffed in my body. Right.
And be able to deal with that. And that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
That makes a ton of sense.
Yeah. That's the beauty of it. That is the beauty.
And I think when you're in the middle of it, it's hard to see that.
Of it.
Because you're just surrounded. You need someone to help you to basically see the forest for the trees, kind of a deal. Because when you're in the weeds and you're in the middle of it, it's hard.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of that sort of thing, quite honestly, that and other things like autoimmune diseases and, other aches and pains, all have emotional roots. Like, the number of people I've dealt with, for example, who deal with chronic back pain, low back pain. Well, low back pain is all about not being supported and worry about money, which is another form of support, right? Oh yeah. There's a tie-in all along the way. Or people with thyroid problems, for example, which are rampant in women. Well, women, historically aren't heard. They can't speak their truth. They have to stifle themselves in order to survive. Well, hello, that's what happens.
Your body's going to rebel against that.
Yeah, thyroid issues usually are the result of that. I mean, there's some other ones as well, but that's the principal one. And I mean, that is rampant in our society, absolutely rampant. Women with thyroid
Okay.
issues. Yeah, yeah. Usually
Wow.
hypothyroid, underactive thyroid, because there's a stifling that's gone on. I mean, you can get it. I mean, if you want to get into, Eastern medicine, I mean, it's the throat chakra, right, which is all about
Yeah,
self-expression. It's, exactly. So
sure.
there it is, and that is what happens. So we work
Through that.
through that, and that, by the way, is one of the things that's a real killer for people with sales, because people are
Okay.
trying. Okay, right. So remember, I was talking about how people feel your energy, right? So
True.
what do we talk about in sales? What makes sales? Well, it's the know, like, and trust factor, right? Well, if you're afraid
Yes,
to
sure is.
actually be known, if you can't be known for who you really are, right? How is anybody ever going to really like you?
Because they don't know you.
Because we don't even know who the real you is, and we're not going to trust you
Yeah.
because, well, we don't know who the real you is. So that a lot of my work, right? You don't
Yeah,
know who
and
the
that's
real you
true.
is, because you've been so busy hiding or denying who you really are, because it's never been safe for you to be fully self-expressed, right? So
It makes it
that's
challenging. And then, yeah,
yeah.
and you cannot step ahead if you can't you're on your own way. I mean, we're our own worst enemy at times.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Remember, it's that little voice going, liar, liar, liar,
Yeah.
right? Because it's never been safe for you to be you. And so you're trying to. What I notice a lot of people do is, they'll get a business coach who tells them, well, if you say this and you do that, and da 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 da, right? Okay,
And that's
but that's them. That's them.
right.
It works for them. It's not
What about
necessarily
me?
who you are. What
Right.
about me? What about me? And a lot of women, I notice, it's like what shall I say, in a male dominated society, it's never been safe to be feminine. Not really. If you talk about,
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of my clients, honestly, are suffering from something that's been identified as patriarchy stress disorder.
Okay.
Yeah, there's actually
There's
a book called Patriarchy Stress Disorder. I think it should be like mandatory
okay.
reading for every woman on the planet, because women historically have been operating from being less than, being worth
Okay.
less. It's in the structure, it's in the way the family is structured. I mean, if you look at history and how, I can't, it was like the 1930 when women in Britain finally had the right to their own children.
Oh, wow.
Prior to that, it was the father who had the right to the kids, not the woman. No sharing,
Wow.
none of that. The woman had absolutely no say about what was
Oh
happening
my
with her
goodness.
kids. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And if you
Hmm.
look at, just the right to vote, I mean, we got an election coming up, right? And
True.
I want to strangle anybody, especially women who don't vote, because they have no idea how hard it was to even
To
get
get
the
there.
vote.
Yeah, and right now every vote counts. We all need
Yeah.
to
I mean,
be
women
we need to
suffered
take our
unspeakable, unspeakable barbarity, because it's like, well, women are stupid. Women have nothing to say. I mean, that was like in the culture. Women have nothing to say. Women have no right to their own bodies. Women have no right to be, to have a say in being governed. Women have no say in how the family gets run. No say. None. Zip.
wow.
Right? So if you think about, yeah, so we're not that many generations. When you talk about epigenetics, right, we are not that many generations past that
That
line
culture.
of thinking. That's ingrained, and overcoming it is no mean feat. Fortunately, the work I do can overcome that.
Okay.
And And it takes some work, and it takes work. You know, for a woman to say, I am worth something, I deserve this. I mean, women weren't even allowed to make money, for heaven's sakes. The only ones who were prostitutes, right? So, no, that's a swell choice.
I was going to say.
Completely dependent on a man, because women, it's not ladylike, it's not done, it's not proper, you know, for you to work. Not respectable women anyway. You know, women who were really poor could work. They could go to work at the age of 10 and things like, you know, sweaty, steamy laundries and work god-awful hours, right? And get paid practically nothing. If you were a woman who was poor, that was fine for you. But, you know, women like us, that's not done, my dear. That is not ladylike. No. So that's, you know, that's what we are overcoming. And that's a lot of my work, is overcoming that for women, particularly women in business, and to be able to say, I am worth it.
Yeah.
I am completely worth it. I am allowed to work, and the money is mine. I get to control the money, because that's another one. It's like, if a woman earned the money, well, she had to give it to her husband, and he got to actually control it. Da 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 da. Yeah, I can see the wheels turning. Yeah, it was the guy who got to control it. Yeah, and you had no say. Or just think about, I remember, for example, this was like I'm dating myself now, oh dear. But I remember it was 1970. That's not that long ago. Mm-hmm. I was a teacher, and I wanted to buy a house.
Okay.
And I went to the bank thinking, this should be no problem. I have, thank God I had my very own credit card. It was hard for a woman to even get a credit card back then. It really was. And if you were a divorced woman, I worked for Sears Credit Sales. If you were divorced, you weren't getting a credit card from Sears Roebuck. You were not.
Wow.
Done. Finito. So I, having been an employee of Sears, I had a credit card.
Okay.
Thank goodness. Right? All right. So I was okay. My teensy tiny minuscule credit record was squeaky clean. So I thought, okay, this should not be a problem. I was told in no uncertain terms that as a single woman, I could not get a mortgage.
Oh my.
I could not get a mortgage.
Wow.
And I said to the guy, I said, well, so what do I do? And he said, get married. Get married. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So we're not that far. Yeah, but that is the way it was. And it was that way for quite some time. A single woman could not get a mortgage. So, that's the legacy that we are working on overcoming, Janet.
Okay.
That legacy of everything, in the domain of money and business was basically a no. And then we went through, women's lib, rah, let's burn the bras, da-da-da-da-da-da. I lived through that too. And then you basically had to turn yourself, I remember power suits, right?
Yeah.
If they would let you, if they would let you in,
you had to have the suit.
Right? You basically had to pretend you were a man. You had to have the suit with the shoulder pads. Right? There was nothing you could do that was feminine without being accused of either being strident or a biatch, or something like that. You could not be assertive. You couldn't stand up for yourself. And I won't even get into the Me Too stuff. Whew, Lord have mercy.
Well, and I guess overcoming that and
case.
trying to, and that's what we struggle with now. And a lot of folks run into that, where they're struggling, trying to overcome, and we may not even know that the blocks are there. And that's where your gift comes into play.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Because if you think all those little pats on the behind somewhere along the line in the, the storage closet didn't add up, believe me, they did. Believe me, they did.
Even if you don't realize they did.
A lot of other. Yeah, you think, oh, well, you just get on with it, right? That's how it is. That's what you got to do to, make a living. So if I speak up, well, they might fire me because they're going to believe him. They're not going to believe me. They're going to say I'm making a big deal out of nothing. I've heard that over and over again. I've thought it myself. I've thought it myself. Absolutely. It's like, well, let's see, do I want the paycheck? Do I really want to have to look for another job, or should I just, kind of put
Deal
up
with
with it,
it.
right? Or find some other way to escape the guy, or, whatever, where you're always like, where is he? Where, you're constantly scanning, where is he? Where is he? So I can be somewhere else, that kind of stuff. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And that's what I find, with my weight loss, as you know, Janet, I have a pretty robust product program in diet-free weight loss.
Right.
And the reason it's so successful is because, weight is just, people think weight is the problem. Weight is not a problem. Weight is a symptom.
I was going to say, it's just
symptom.
because of, it's the reaction to, in essence. I always say it's the reaction to what's going on.
Exactly right. Exactly right. So, and there are psychological things, there are genetic things, and then there's what's in your environment, and I deal with all of that. So we get underneath the
entire package that has to be dealt with, because it's not
exactly
especially
right.
Even females in business. There's a lot of variations, and I know it is what it is. There's a lot of, you're balancing family, you're balancing your work, you're balancing everything else, and
well, that's the thing.
You juggle.
Not even
you sit there and juggle.
It's not balancing. Let's get clear on that.
No, you're just juggling it.
There's a difference between balance and juggle, and I think what most women are doing is juggle.
Oh, really. Guaranteed.
Really and truly, it's juggle. And a lot of what I run into, quite honestly, is women are. We are hardwired to be nurturers.
Of course.
If you look at brain, and there's, what the heck is her name? A woman wrote a book called Thriving Mind. Bessinger, I think, was her name.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And looking at, you can actually, get tested to see, which quadrants
where you fall naturally.
You operate most heavily in. And most, naturally. And most women are basal, I think it's basal right. And basal rights are the worriers and the nurturers. So when you're worrying and nurturing, where are you on your radar?
You're not.
Nowhere.
You're not.
Nowhere. Absolutely not. So that's another thing that we work on. When you work on with me, we're working on, okay, so where did you get the bright idea that you come last in your life?
Okay.
Where did you get that idea? And maybe it's time to change that.
I was going to say, once you figure it out, you can't change something that you don't know.
Exactly right. That's exactly right. Yeah.
And especially right now, folks are gaining weight. I mean, and that has been a major symptom, especially in the last few months, because life as we know it was turned upside down.
Oh, yeah.
So, and that's one of the, and
absolutely.
Diet free and still lose the weight. As you said, it's really taking that whole package and getting under the underneath. And that's how you serve your clients, and, have had some amazing progress with that as well. I mean, it's just amazing because, as you said, you just know, and it's a little scary, but you know.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So the past, it's going on a year almost, isn't it? But since COVID hit, and people are saying, oh, this COVID thing's coming. I don't know what it's going to be like. Da, da, da. So I think what's happened is when you've got that many changes and that many losses. I mean, there is, what I have noticed, I don't know if you keep up with things. I have a habit of looking at what the Boston Globe is saying, and the Boston Globe is looking at what Johns Hopkins is saying about the worldwide statistics. And statistically, every single day, and this is still happening, there's the equivalent of a small town disappearing every day.
Wow.
Yeah. Anywhere, usually it hovers around 5,000 people dying worldwide every single day. Well, I have this background in engineering and a lifelong fascination with physics, particularly quantum mechanics. Well, if you look at the reality that that the separation is an illusion and that we are all molecularly connected, there is no way that people are not affected by 5,000 deaths a day.
Sure.
Because we're all connected, and we feel that loss. So we are all in this state of low-level grief. Even if you didn't know the person, you're still affected.
And there's been so much lately.
right?
I mean, and you add everything else
Yeah,
that's going on. It's no wonder we're struggling.
yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. So, that's something that I deal with as well. In fact, I mean, I'm coming up right up today at 1.
Yes, I was going to
doing,
say, and share, yeah, jump over to Standing Firm. Absolutely. And kind of share a little bit about that. And you got anybody watching is
Standing
more
firm when
than
your world is
welcome.
shaking today.
Yes, absolutely. And that's 1 o'clock
Yeah.
on Wednesdays. So join me at 11:30, then join her at 1.
1 o'clock, yeah, 1 o'clock on Wednesday. So I'm having, guests. Well, you were a guest, right?
Yeah.
And today we have somebody who's going to be talking about, dealing with kids, difficult kids.
Okay.
And then the next thing we do is, I take people through a guided meditation to calm down the nervous system. Because if you are in, fight, flight, freeze, which is where a lot of people are right now. They don't even know they're in fight, flight, freeze, but they are, right? Then you cannot be, fully functional. You can't be in the creative mode. You can't be in the clear thinking mode. You just can't. Your body is just in react mode.
Yeah, and there's nothing it can do but react.
Yeah, but react, right? So you have to take measures routinely during the day to calm your system down. So this is, my gift really to people. Say, here's a way that you can calm your system down, at least for today. You can feel like, for right now, I'm safe, I'm okay, it's going to be all right, at least for the next 5 minutes. It's going to be all right. It's going to be all right. And sometimes that's all you need. It's just a little tiny reset. And then you can
back
manage
on track.
Whatever kind of track you've got right now. Some of them are pretty wonky, but
it's definitely different, and it's definitely challenging each and every day.
That is what you can do.
Very cool. Very cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I encourage everyone to go check it out. I enjoyed having the opportunity to be on, and the meditation at the end is just that 5 minutes of a break. And right now, as you said, a lot of times that's what we need, is just that step back, and it's hard to do that.
Yeah.
Very, very hard to do that. And I think you actually have a special gift too for anyone watching who would like to take advantage of that. Did you have a little gift that you were going to share with folks?
I do, actually. I do. So actually, I have a gift of my book. If weight has been a problem for you in these times, and I know for many people it has been, just go to lizbull.com, /gift.
Oh, perfect. And I'll make sure that's on the comments as soon as we get everything posted out there. We'll get that out in the comments as well.
Yeah, lizbull.com/gift.
We can handle that.
Yeah, I think that's great.
And I appreciate
so much for having me, Janet.
Thank you.
Whoever is watching, thanks for joining us. I hope this has been a benefit to you and has given you a little bit more insight on what's going on in the world right now and what might be going on in your life, either with your sales and your business or your weight.
And they're all interconnected, as you so brilliantly have put it together for us. And I'm so thankful. Thank you so much, Liz, for joining us. And I just appreciate that, because as I said, we're here to inspire and ignite those possibilities, because there is possibilities out there, and to grant you hope, because it is your time to excel. So thank you so very much, and we will catch everyone next week.
Thanks. Bye, everybody.
Bye.